Hi guys. Well, I hope you're all doing well and not struggling too much in this very, very strange sort of like time that we're in. I'm revisiting Cathy's vid. Following the last video, the channel Lifting the Lid, Robin from Liftin the Lid, contacted myself and Cathy and asked if we'd like to do an interview. And there are other people involved in the team with Cathy, because I was sort of like a bit of a latecomer to all this, and they'll be included as well. So it'll be Mick from Rebel Without a Pause and Sandy123 have been doing all sorts of their own stuff around this. So I'm going to go through the comments first, and I'm going to show you some of the stuff that I've sort of found out. So Denver, iron oxide. I think Cathy's looking into that. Yeah, it looks like it's being exposed in places. The road tyre tracks terminate. Sparky here. Someone digging things out. Showing red in places or worn away. Had a right good look at it. And yeah, bones, tendons, bloods of giants. It genuinely looks biological to me. It looks like biology. Fred says how he's seen things under a microscope with parasites around them. I've seen that, and I thought of that when he mentioned that. I thought, yeah, he's seen what I've seen. You know, you pick things up. We're like sponges, aren't we? Yeah, Buzz Rebel, he's done a video. I think he's done a couple now. I've got to check his second one out. Searching for where to dig deeper from Ivo Man. He sees a building. I haven't checked that. I should go and properly check it. Yeah, mining. Yeah, I did. Yeah. Cat's looking into the mining part. 100% biology. Please go to Mudfossil University. Yeah, we're going to go there in a sec.
Here's his tail. There's his dragon scaled tail. So I'm telling you right
I was very taken with this when I saw this. Very taken with it. I could see the scales. I could see exactly what he was pointing out. And I was really taken by it, and I was watching, and it was I got into mud fossils through this, and I got a couple of mud fossils, but then I sort of like went off into mud flooding and didn't follow Roger at all very much. And I know he's wound a lot of people up because he's not a flat earther, and he's said some quite scathing and rude things about flat earth people and flat earth. But here's my comments from, well, 2 years ago it says, but it was when it first came out. Because I was very taken by it. Very taken by it. It's all across here where the Atlas Mountains are, and its tail goes all the way around here. And he believes there's a fish here. I can see the fish, but I'm not sure. I need to go and have a look now that I've sort of worked my new thing out that I've worked out that I'm going to tell you about. So yeah, I'm aware of Roger. Let's get rid of that and go back to Cass. Where's she gone? Cathy? All those screens look the same, didn't they? They're all of landscapes. Right. Petrol was decomposing matter from Titans. That's a thought, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, it is weird in places, Mallory. I completely agree. Cheryl, alien pods. Yeah, does look like something hatching out down there. Check out Roger. Well, we've done that. And also, I'll come to the comment in a minute. Same repeating structures. Yeah. Geo's recommending a book, which I'm Confusion in the Cosmos, which I'm considering getting when I'm more sort of like in pocket. Super strange. Russia has weird stuff. It genuinely does. Everywhere has weird stuff. Yeah. Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Motherboard does look like a motherboard. Looks like something from Sci-Fi, from Niven. Zal, looks like something's hatched. It does, doesn't it? Sandy said it could have been set up as a studio. I was actually starting to go down CGI roads after last night, but then I worked something out. I'll get there in a minute. Right. So, Sarah, Tony the Sky Collector, he talks about brownish red colours at the edge of the mountain hill terrains. I think they are maybe tanks. And yeah, we thought we saw tanks and stuff in there. Well, let's give him a little love up. And West Bay Ray. And he was talking about somebody else who was looking. And the next day in my YouTube recommended views, I had a video from Autodidactic, who's a pretty good channel. I watched quite a few of his vids after watching that. He's done some good mud flood stuff, and he's got some great pictures. So he has done a Saharan one. He's done a Saharan Google Earth one, and same sort of thing. So last night I was looking at Cathy's vid again, and back on Google Earth looking at some stuff I found. And I was thinking about the cameras. I was thinking they have to be using some really high spec cameras here. They have to be. So I went to Google Earth, and it's Maxar Technologies. Yeah. So I went to Maxar Technologies. Here they are. So these are your guys who are photographing Google Earth from up above. Now this is what they say they're using. They call it their satellite lens array. Now I don't know what it is, what their satellite lens array is or anything, but they've got a whole load of stuff going on. Products, spacecraft platforms, robotics, satellite access, satellite imagery, map data, analytics, all sorts of stuff. Service tools, G-Box, transform imagery into answers. So these are the guys to go to. And this is what they use. Shortwave infrared imagery. See beyond what's visible to the naked eye with shortwave infrared imagery, known as SWIR. SWIR. Reveal the unseen. Digital Globe goes deeper into the infrared spectrum than any other very high resolution commercial imagery provider to help remote sensing experts unlock critical information through advanced analytic capabilities. Data-rich shortwave infrared SWIR imagery is ideal for categorizing man-made and natural material, penetrating smoke, detecting fire, mapping minerals and more. So they can go through smoke and they can go through cloud as well. 3.7 resolution, better context, more data spectra, higher confidence. So yeah, they can see below the surface. They use it for geological. So you've got this, and then you look in heat detector software. So I think Cathy, when she found those 2010 images, probably found some data that was for geology. Let's go back and have a look now. Oh, hang on, I'll just show you this.
SWIR, or shortwave infrared, allows you to delve deep into the unseen world of the infrared. SWIR allows us to see the surface of the Earth through obstructions such as smoke, fog, and haze. Additionally, SWIR bands, in combination with our traditional 8 visible and near-infrared bands, add a richer set of spectral mixtures. So how might SWIR apply to you? If you're exploring for minerals, SWIR bands can help you better decode the materials you're searching for. If you work in agriculture, you'll be able to unlock a greater amount of information to help classify and distinguish between vegetation and determine their relative health. In an emergency situation such as a hurricane or a fire, SWIR bands can help first responders cut through the smoke and haze and clearly determine the situation on the ground. SWIR is just one of the latest innovations from Digital Globe.
So, SWIR technology, it's shortwave infrared imagery, is providing the images for Google Earth. When you know that, you can start to think that half of what you're seeing here isn't here, it's underground. This is actually underground. Just think of this as a transparent surface, and we're actually looking below. So my squid thing, you can actually see now that this may actually have been some sort of burying thing out, because it's sort of there on the top and that's underneath. Most of this is underneath. a lot of this that we're seeing, all this. A lot of these, where it's got lots and lots of lines as well, I think it's just where there's been a lot of truck activity, and it's just below the surface of the sand, because in these areas as well you can't sort of go down so deep, and maybe that the surface area is thicker here. But here you can really see some stuff going on. Really get in and see that this is all underneath. So once you start to get the idea of it, let's get this. I'll give you some 3D in a minute. You can see that not all of this is exposed. You might think it is, but it's not. These bits are, that bit at the top. Let's have a look. See what I mean? So this imagery that they use can locate what's underneath for the mines, so that they can then position their whatever it is they use to do it underneath. I mean, this red, inexplicable to me. What's that? It looks like wrecked machinery, doesn't it? So then these become less of a puzzle. A lot of this becomes less of a puzzle, because then you can see that it's tracks and just shadows and more tracks, which are, a lot of them are under the surface and all being shown with this imagery. But then when you get to these thin areas, you can actually see like a mass of life underneath. Hang on. This bit over here, and all this here that was a puzzle before, looking underground. So this wouldn't be any good to them, this here, but this is more on like a plateau, and what they need is here. And it does look as if blood maybe has pooled here or something. I don't know. So I'm going to take you to what I was looking at and what I found over in the other part of the desert. I thought I was in the eastern desert, but I was actually further over, sort of east of Suez, more sort of edging towards the Holy Land way. I think I am actually in the Holy Land. So I'll show you what I found. Hang on, light me ciggy. Get that. Get my projects up. And I found some other stuff as well, and it was while I was looking for the other stuff that I'd lost that I found this stuff that we're going to look at now. But the other stuff that I found looked, for all the world, just like body parts, just lying around in the desert. And now that I sort of know about this imagery, I want to go back and look. And it made me think, for all the world, of the angelic technology that FPV talks of, because it can make matter. It can make matter. It can actually produce matter, and we're matter, you know. And maybe they are programmed to produce body parts. Maybe they're programmed to produce body tissue, and it just seems to be sort of like not from any creature. It's just there. So maybe they got a heart machine, I don't know, lung machines, I don't know. Anyway, this is what I found, and I'm quite sort of away from where we were before. This is the eastern desert, and somehow I ended up over here. Pull out. While we're in here, just look at the colour. All this colour in here. There's reds, there's blues. This is where I started off getting a bit sort of confused and thinking this stuff had to be CGI. I thought, this is good. This is just getting beyond a joke. And then all this weird stuff here, and then I found all this here that looked like neural netting, and yeah, I thought, what the God is going on? And I thought that I'm missing something, and of course what I'm missing is that this is actually looking underneath. A lot of these lines could be artifacts from the platforms that they use, like a matrix, like in a computer platform, like the grids in the platforms that they use to map the areas, because they're not everywhere. But last night I thought it was some sort of crazy stuff, crazy lemming game or something. And then when you go flat, you can just walk over it. But when you do that and sort of go the other way, it looks almost 3D in there. That's all underground. All of this, it's even got depth. Can you see? Anyway, I'm going to show you this because it's quite interesting, and I don't know if you agree or not, but I think this looks like a skull in here. Do you see? You got like a jaw, and then the side of a face and the back of the skull. And then when I went in a bit further, I thought maybe it was in fact 2 skulls, or 1 skull broken, because you sort of got these teeth things here. And remember, these beings may not have looked human. These may not have been human looking beings. A few years ago they did this Photoshop competition thing, didn't they, where they had all these like massive great big giant skeletons, and they were all intact. But nobody's going to be excavating this at any time very soon. They might be able to get what it's produced, and I do think that there's crystals and jewels in this cave, so I think this may be a jewel mining op in here going on. So it genuinely does look like that. But let's go in and have a little look, and I'll show you some other things. Like, not all of this is above the surface. If you were to sort of like walk across it, you'd just be walking across a whole sort of like white region with some higher ridges. See, this is quite interesting. This is a higher ridge. If we're thinking it's a skull, you'd have to take all these into consideration. So a lot of the white is not exposed, it's just sort of still underground. It looks interesting that way as well, doesn't it? So yeah, so if it was a skull, so it was 1 skull and that is the jaw, this would be really very calcified now, and this does look like calcification that you get on bone, doesn't it? And that will be on the surface, and these that are sort of like more in detail, a surface detail, and then this excuse me most of this is underneath. Cool, isn't it? So I wanted to get this video out sort of ahead of the interview so that I could refer to it and not try to explain what I'm seeing, because it can be sort of quite difficult to get your head around. A lot of this that we're seeing is actually not visible to the human eye. If you were to take a photograph of this area with your camera, you would not photograph this. It wouldn't look like this, because this has got all this underground geology. You don't have it's all blurry, and I think there's little bushes and trees and things in here as well. I think that's what some of these darker bits are, because it does seem sort of quite a harsh terrain, but in places there does seem to be bushes. These look like trees and bushes, yeah, shrubs or something. Oh yeah, I wanted to measure the head for you. We're north, yeah, we're north. Where am I? Am I lost? Oh yeah, here. Oh god. So I'm going to measure it. I just measure it from here to here, because I was thinking that could have been knocked off, or that could just be the side of the face. If this was the side of the face and this was the skull, what would that be? And if you look here, can you see this here? This running down off here, and this here really looks like bone here. That really looks like the top of a skull. I wonder if you could find the fissure in the top of the skull, you know, those fissures. And that does look like bony sort of things going on. Let's measure it. Go from here, yeah? To here, so it's 645 metres, so that would have been one big skull. That's all this here. This is, also the other thing. A lot of these places now, I'll show you this place here. It's starting to look more as if they may have been settlements as well. And we're looking at underground archaeology. I think it might have been this bit here. I can't remember now. I mean, everywhere around here you can find somewhere. No. See, they haven't done much sort of neural mapping on this one. Neural mapping, or whatever it is that they do. So this site here, I think, this is a place of interest because it does seem to have camera sort of artifact things, or whatever you call them, all over the place, and to be able to get in so close and find such detail. It's peculiar. This looks like amethysts, doesn't it? You see all this? Huge stones. It's wonderful, isn't it? It's like something out of Indiana Jones, just sort of discovering this huge creature's head in the jungle, in the desert, surrounded by jewels. Look at this. What's that? That imaging can also detect whether something's biological or man-made. Oh wow, look at this. That's quite strange, isn't it? So yeah, have fun looking underground, because it's what we're doing. Wow. Well guys, I'm going to stop here, and I think I've covered everything. Let me have a look at my crib sheet. Oh, hey guys, I had forgotten something. Yesterday I had 3 major synchronicities attached to this. So I'm going to share them with you, because I shared them with Cathy last night. They were quite good. The first one was this video that was on last night, not that. This one. I've got it on mute because there's an extreme amount of swearing in it. But it was Brian Stavely, and he mirrored Breaking Down the Reality You Think You Know with the Truth Seeker 69 and Steve JMO. But this, I think it's, I'm trying to work out what her name is. I think it might be Jen or Jez. I'm trying to work out, because she's looking at the Earth's geology, and she really sort of like goes into Google Earth and looking at quarries. She was looking at quarries, and she had some pictures of some massive excavators, and at one point she got some good mud flood pics going on. So, but she was looking at the Giant's Causeway and really into it, really sort of getting into it. And I thought, wow, it's a coincidence. And it seems to me that there is an ability being something happening somewhere, and it just has to be this angelic technology that creates this matter and is able to create life. And I tuned into R.Wayne Steiger, and I caught literally about the last 5 minutes, and the lady on there says this.
Like I said, it's about what you think, about what are you manifesting from what position. Is it from a control dominating dark, or is it from healing light? You know, what mode are you creating from? Because you create from light or darkness.
Well, we're finding that light heals. I mean, you know, light will kill bacteria on the skin. You can take light to remove tattoos. Yeah.
I saw some stuff in Russia years ago that they were literally regenerating body parts with light, sound, and frequency. I literally saw this years ago, and I mean, I know this technology exists. I know that we can literally manifest new body parts with these 3 things in the right frequency. I know it.
Okay. Light, sound, and frequency. Yeah? Regenerating body parts. My mind, when I heard that, my head just went because it's exactly what we're looking at. It's any technology that we have and we are using, it's because we've filched it from elsewhere, and we're discovering they're with this sort of like imagery, they're finding what's underground and going in and pinching the tech. But they are creation machines. We're on some mega creation machine. And my third coincidence, my third coincidence was when I went back to find the dragon video. I saw that Roger had made a whole load of videos about dragons, about the biology, about all sorts of stuff. He's done all sorts of other stuff and fallen out with all sorts of people along the way. But he's been doing some sound research, and I haven't been following him because I've been doing my own channel and mud flood videoing and sky watching and dealing with house and family dramas and all that sort of things, you know. But I watched this, and I've seen it before. I saw it when he brought it out. I don't think I commented on this one or even liked it at the time, but I remember watching it and thinking, no, it's just too weird. Now I'm not so sure. He thinks this is some sort of like being created, but I saw something about it last night. He zooms in here. Here it is. And he talks about how you can actually really see it's so... Hang on, I'll turn him on.
The DNA, I said, here it is right here. You see that?
And there's this thing
and you don't see it as DNA,
forming.
If you look closely, you can see it connects in here, and there are little tiny spots all the way across. Just exactly, and you can see. You see this? You see this? See those stripes? That is exactly.
I want him to move up the dragon a bit. I think it's a dragon. By the way, come on, move up, move. It's enough about that. Here we go. Here. I don't know if he's going to pull out enough. I'm getting impatient, Rog. Here. I can see a face curled round and a beak. There's his eye. Here's his face curled round, and here's his beak. Yeah. That's what I'm seeing here. Eye, nostril, little beak. And he's probably sort of like, this is all going to be underground, so I want to look again at that. So my third coincidence was, after I'd watched this video of Roger's, I was in a live chat room on somebody's stream. I think it might have been David Banner's again. Very, very interesting, talking about all sorts. And somebody, I'm trying to remember who it was, somebody talked about does anybody here actually know what Immaculate Conception really means? Yeah. And I could feel myself thinking, I'm going to get some information now. I'm going to get something. And they said, does anybody know anything about sex magic? And I do actually know a little bit about sex magic, courtesy of Tracy Twyman, the researcher who died recently, which was all a bit odd, but that's something else. And I know a little bit about sex magic. And then she said, Immaculate Conception is creation without orgasm. So you don't need a sex partner for Immaculate Conception. And it just went, bitting, that's it. Of course it is. That's exactly it. We're looking at Immaculate Conception. It has to be. Our earth. So Jesus was conceived by Immaculate Conception. Jesus has got a halo, isn't he? And Jesus is an angel, isn't he? The same as Mary. They were created by our earth through Immaculate Conception. Therefore, he's the Son of God. I'll post up when our interview is going to come on. Quite looking forward to it. Some of the information that the others have is just bloody mind-stretching, I'll tell you. And I think it's time we're going to be moving forward with our research with all this, and that, well, see you on the other side.